Kyle Field, and today we're getting into a topic that, while often overlooked, resonates deeply in our communities. That's the intersection of mental health and faith, more specifically within our church community. This is a very personal episode for me. I am, as many know, paranoid schizophrenic. When I was 18, I had a similar situation happen. Pastor Bryce LeBlanc and the New Providence Baptist Church in Greencastle, Indiana, was my real life story. Now, whether or not he or any members of this church will hear this doesn't matter to me. It's been over a decade. I've made available avenues for him to reach out to me or to talk about what he tells others was a mistake. While I've forgiven him and his church team at the time who hurt me, he has still been reluctant to reach out to me. This happened in 2008. 7 years later, I still see them standing in the parking lot, arms crossed, with a book of matter of fact on their faces, saying that calls for help were falling on deaf ears. My ears can still hear the last they shared among themselves as I walked away, contemplating whether I should continue my life or if it didn't matter enough to go ahead. So this is a part of my testament, and this is something that I've had to fight with, and that I've had to ask for forgiveness on, um, and come to terms with. So this is for everybody else that's ever felt that way. Mental health issues are prevalent in our society, affecting people across all walks of life. However, the church is often a double edged sword. On one hand, it can be a sanctuary for healing and support. On the other, it can unfortunately become a place where stigma flourishes, leaving many to suffer in silence. It's essential to recognize that many individuals with mental health challenges may feel unsupported or even ostracized by their faith and in their faith communities. This, unfortunately, leads to a paradox. In seeking peace through their faith, they may instead encounter misunderstanding and judgment. Statistics reveal that about 1 in 5 adults experience mental illness each year. Despite this prevalence, many congregations struggle to discuss mental health openly. As believers, we are called to love and support one another. In Galatians 6:2, it states, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." However, mental health struggles are met with skepticism or disbelief. We fail to live out this calling. Sorry. So let's talk about the psychological effects of denied help, mainly in people that suffer from some mental illness. Turning now to the psychological effects of being denied help by the church, it's crucial to understand that the emotional and spiritual scars can be deep seated, particularly for those grappling with mental health challenges. When individuals with mental illness reach out for support, they often do so at their most vulnerable. Rejection or denial from a church community can have devastating consequences. For someone dealing with mental health issues, those consequences can have far reaching impacts beyond simply not attending church. Even if you don't have a mental illness, consider how it would feel if the place you sought peace and refuge denied or rejected you. This experience can be universally painful. Research shows that social rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain, making it profoundly distressing for anyone. Studies indicate that 60% of people reporting feeling a significant emotional toll after experiencing rejection, which can lead to the same feelings of sadness, anger, and diminished self-worth. So, let's talk about how this can affect some people, starting with trauma responses. Consider someone living with post traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. If a person with PTSD turns to their church for solace after a traumatic event but is met with judgment or dismissal, the resulting rejection can exacerbate their trauma symptoms. They might experience heightened anxiety and flashbacks, potentially potentially triggering a cycle of re-traumatization that is both emotionally and spiritually debilitating. Or what about sense of worthlessness? Individuals with depression often grapple with feelings of self s- I'm sorry, of feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt. When someone battling depression reaches out, craving understanding and support, encountering rejection from the church can deepen these feelings. They may internalize the church's failure to accept them as a confirmation of their own perceived inadequacy, increasing their depressive symptoms and making recovery more challenging. How about crisis of identity? Those living with bipolar disorder can experience a tumultuous relationship with their identity, especially during mood episodes. If someone is in a manic state, seeks help, and is met with suspicion or stigma from church members, it could lead them to question their very sense of self. Rejection can create a significant fracture between their faith identity and lived reality, leading to confusion and despair about who they are in the eyes of God and their community. For individuals with anxiety disorder, trust issues can be pervasive. If someone battling anxiety approaches their church seeking comfort and encounters rejection, they may struggle to trust anyone in authority moving forward. This erosion of trust can hinder their ability to seek help from mental health professionals or supportive friends, leaving them more isolated in their suffering. Now, let's look at somebody that has obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD. If an individual with OCD reaches out for support but is met with misunderstanding or ridicule, it could exacerbate their compulsive behaviors or intrusive thoughts. The stress of rejection would not only impede their recovery, but could lead to a significant worsening of symptoms that impacts their daily life and relationships. Finally, those grappling with personality disorders may often benefit from a strong social network. It sounds like my voice keeps changing. That's weird. Um, when a church community becomes a source of alienation rather than support, it can lead individuals to withdraw further from essential social interactions. This disconnection can deepen their feelings of loneliness and exacerbate the symptoms of their mental health conditions. In summary, the rejection or denial from a church community can have profound implications for individuals with various mental illnesses. The impacts extend beyond the immediate feelings of hurt or abandonment. They can lead to or exacerbate symptoms, increased isolation, and a deeper crisis of identity and self worth. The church, which should be a safe haven, can inadvertently become a place of fear and judgment, pushing vulnerable individuals further away from support and healing. As we explore the impact of mental health in the church, it's imperative to address a critical aspect. What happens when our church leaders are a source of hurt rather than help? Church leaders hold a position of immense influence and responsibility. When they provide support, they can nurture communities of healing and understanding. However, if they contribute to feelings of isolation or stigma, the consequences can be significant. Many individuals turn to spiritual leaders in search of guidance during troubling times, especially when facing mental health challenges. However, if those leaders express prejudice, offer harmful advice, or dismiss mental health struggles as lack of faith, the repercussions can leave deep emotional scars, such experiences can undermine the trust and safety that should be found within the church community. The Bible speaks extensively about the church's role as a sanctuary, a place for healing and restoration. Various scriptures embody this mission, highlighting how the church should act as a healing agent rather than a source of harm. James chapter 1 verse 27 states, "Religion that our God Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world." This passage emphasizes the need for active compassion and support within the church community, especially for those who find themselves vulnerable. In John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35, Jesus instructs his followers to love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. This commandment stresses that the mark of a true church is its ability to embody love and acceptance, particularly to those who are struggling. Church leaders and congregations must practice self reflection and accountability. Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 17, speaks about how to address wrongs within the community, providing clear guidance on correction and restoration rather than neglect or rejection. Hold on just a second. Galatians chapter 2, Galatians chapter 6, verse 2 encourages us to bear one another's burdens, underscoring that part of our Christian walk is, let me try that again. Sorry. Galatians chapter 6, verse 2 encourages us to bear one another's burdens, underscoring that part of our Christian walk is to support and uplift those around us. A church community should reflect this, offering a refuge to a refuge where struggles are met with compassion, not judgment. Statistics show that approximately 70% of individuals dealing with mental health issues report feeling that their faith community would be unsupportive if they sought help, often due to fears of being stigmatized or misunderstood. When church leaders are unapproachable or fail to acknowledge the legitimacy of mental health concerns, they not only perpetuate stigma, but also create barriers that prevent individuals from seeking help. For someone in distress, the hurt inflicted by a church leader can feel particularly isolating, compounding their existing challenges. The rejection might lead to loss of faith in both God and the community, leaving individuals feeling abandoned during their most critical moments. This erosion of faith may then escalate mental health issues, leading to a spiral of despair as individuals grapple with feelings of unworthiness and alienation. When church leaders serve as a source of hurt, the entire community suffers. Their influence extends well beyond individual interactions, impacting the culture of the church itself. A toxic environment can foster despair and resentment rather than love and acceptance, which is very contrary to the message of hope that many seek. In light of these challenges, it's crucial for church communities to reevaluate how they support individuals dealing with mental illness. Open dialogue about mental health is essential as it fosters understanding and compassion. Leaders and congregants alike should be encouraged to educate themselves on these issues, creating a culture that embraces vulnerability and offers genuine support. Church leaders have to have church leaders have this opportunity to become advocates for mental health awareness within their congregations. They can set an example by openly discussing mental health issues and sharing resources for help. This proactive approach can empower congregants to seek the support they need without fear or stigma. Moreover, churches should consider forming support groups where individuals can share their experiences and struggles in a safe, welcoming environment surrounded by God. These small gatherings can make a profound difference, offering community members the chance to find solace and understanding among peers who may be on similar journeys. In addition, creating partnerships with mental health professionals can bridge the gap between spiritual guidance and psychological support. Churches can host workshops, seminars, or even invite mental health experts to speak, ensuring that the message of love and support resonates throughout the congregation. Importantly, we must remember that church doesn't have to mean a large congregation with a pastor and, everything that comes with it, right? According to the Bible, a church can be as simple as three people gathered in a circle discussing God and reading his word. It's in these intimate settings that real connection and healing can begin. So, how can individuals within the church community create a more supportive environment? Whether it's reaching out to someone in need, advocating for mental health awareness, or simply providing a listening ear. Every act of kindness contributes to a healthier, more loving community. Thank you for joining me on this special episode of That's Life. I hope this evening's, tonight's conversation has provided you with insight and encouragement as we all navigate our faith journeys. Together, let's shine light into the dark places and work towards healing and restoration, one heart at a time. To conclude the journey of holding on to, and maintaining faith despite the church's failures is undoubtedly challenging. The social and psychological implications are profound, leaving scars that can affect individuals for years, even lifetimes. Yet it's essential that it's sorry, let me try that one more time. Mark. Yet it's essential, sorry, one more time. This is for podcast. Yet it's essential to remember that we, as children of God, have the power to create the spaces of healing that can mend these wounds. Through accountability, love, open dialogue, and compassion, we can transform our church communities into bastions of hope and healing. Whether you're someone who's been hurt by a church or a leader striving to create a better environment, know that it's possible to reclaim a sense of faith that is both powerful and restorative. Healing may take time, but with every step forward, we can create a culture that reflects Christ, that can reflect the heart of Christ. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, do you, but do it with love and affection. I'm Kyle, and that's life. All right.